The date night was perfect. That was the worst part. We'd laughed over dinner, held hands in the car, and when we got home, Sana kissed my cheek and said, "Tonight was exactly what we needed." I believed her. I was still smiling when she grabbed her towel and headed for the bathroom. Then her phone lit up. I wasn't trying to read it. I was just close. The notification sat right there on the screen. Bold, shameless, impossible to unsee. It was her boss, Arham Malik, who texted, "Did you like what I sent? Now it's your turn, darling. Send me something to get through the weekend." I didn't move. I read it again, then a third time. The words didn't change. Darling. Her boss. The man she talked about casually at dinner sometimes. Aram Sir approved the project. Aram Sir gave the whole team a bonus. Always professional, always distant. Just a name in conversation. Except he just called my wife darling and was asking her for photos. The shower was running. I had maybe 4 minutes. My hands were completely still, which surprised me, as I picked up her phone. The conversation above that message told me everything I needed to know and destroyed everything I'd believed in about 30 seconds of scrolling. This had been going on for months. Inside me, something didn't explode. It didn't shatter. It went very, very quiet, like a room where all the sound gets suddenly sucked out. I put her phone back. Same angle, same position, exactly as it was. I walked to the kitchen, poured a glass of water, and stood there staring at nothing until I heard the bathroom door open. Sana came out in her robe, hair wrapped in a towel, smiling that familiar smile. "Why are you standing in the dark?" She laughed, reaching for the light. I turned around and smiled back. "Just thinking," I said. "Tonight was really nice." She walked over and hugged me from behind. "See? I told you we needed this." I put my hand over hers, and I thought, "You have no idea what I just read, and you're not going to know that I know. Not yet. Not until I'm ready." She pulled away to check her phone. I watched her face from across the room, the micro expression she didn't know she made, the slight turn away from me, the quick lock of the screen. She was good, but she'd already made her biggest mistake. She left that phone on the table during our date. She thought the night was over. It had just begun. I didn't sleep that night. Not because I was crying, not because I was angry. I lay there in the dark, completely still, while Sana slept beside me, one hand tucked under her cheek, peaceful as someone with a clean conscience. And I made a decision. No confrontation, no questions, no tears. Evidence first, everything else later. The next morning, I was the perfect husband. Made her coffee, asked about her day, kissed her forehead when she left for work. She didn't notice anything different. That told me something too, that my normal and my broken looked exactly the same to her. How long had she stopped paying attention? The moment the door closed, I sat down and started thinking like a man with a plan, not a man with a wound. First, the cloud. We'd set up a shared photo backup years ago, back when things were simple. She'd forgotten about it. I hadn't. I opened it. There was a hidden album. One of those quiet folders you create when you don't want something mixed in with normal memories. My hands moved slowly as I opened it. I closed it after 10 seconds. I'd seen enough. I sat there for a long minute. Then I opened my contacts and called Bilal, my closest friend, the one who'd handled his own divorce 2 years ago and knew every step of what paperwork, evidence, and lawyers looked like. I called her. I said, "I need to meet you," I said, not on the phone. He didn't ask questions. He said, "Tonight, my place." For the next 4 days, I watched Sana like I was studying a stranger. She was good, I'll give her that. Nothing dramatic, no obvious lies, just small, smooth habits she'd built without me noticing. The phone always faced down on the table, a second or two delay before answering calls in front of me. Office pressure, mentioned just enough to explain late evenings. Not so much it raised flags. Wednesday night over dinner, she sighed and pushed rice around her plate. "Aram Sir is really pushing the team this quarter," she said casually. "I might have to stay late a few days next week." I nodded slowly. "That sounds exhausting. He works you too hard. He just has high standards." I poured her water. "You should tell me when it gets too much. I worry about you." She looked up and smiled. Soft, grateful, completely comfortable. "You're too good to me, Zaid." "I try," I said, and I smiled back like a man who believed everything was fine. Bilal reviewed everything that night with the calm of someone who had walked this road before. "Don't touch her phone again," he said firmly. "What you saw is enough to know. Now we document cleanly. Nothing that can be called an invasion. We do this right." "I want it airtight," I said. "Then give me a week." He leaned back. "Does she know anything is different?" "Nothing," I said. He looked at me for a moment. "How are you holding it together like this?" I thought about it honestly. "Because falling apart is what she's expecting if this ever comes out. I won't give her that version of me." Bilal nodded slowly. Then he opened his laptop and we got to work. 3 days later, Bilal called me at noon. "Check your email." I opened it. Hotel booking confirmation. Her name. 2 days from now. A Friday evening checkout listed as Saturday morning. I stared at the screen. Friday. Our 5th wedding anniversary. She had booked a hotel room for their anniversary. Our anniversary. I looked at that hotel booking for a long time. 5 years of marriage, and she had chosen that Friday, our Friday, to spend with him. That wasn't carelessness. That was erasure. Something settled permanently in my chest. Cold. Decided. Done. I called Bilal back. "I want to end this on Friday," I said. "Same hotel. I want her caught where she planned to celebrate." A pause. "Then we move fast. I'll call my contact. He's handled this before. Legally clean." "One more thing," I said. "Find me Aram's wife's number." The next 2 days, I performed the role of a loving, unsuspecting husband with complete commitment. Thursday evening, I came home early, cooked dinner, her favorite, and told her casually over the table, "Babe, I have to fly to Karachi tomorrow morning. Client emergency. I'll be back Saturday." Her reaction was instant, and she couldn't fully hide it. Her shoulders dropped, just slightly. A small breath released, relief dressed up as disappointment. "Oh no," she said, touching my hand. "On a Friday? Can't someone else go?" "It has to be me." I watched her eyes. "Will you be okay alone?" "I'll manage," she said softly. "You work so hard for us." "For us." The words landed like a stone in still water. "I do," I said simply. She squeezed my hand. I squeezed back. Inside, nothing. I was already 3 steps ahead of her. Friday morning, I packed a bag, kissed her goodbye, told her I'd call from the airport. She stood at the door in her robe, waving, warm, the perfect wife seeing off her devoted husband. I drove to Bilal's instead. He was ready. His contact, a quiet, professional man named Kamran, had handled legal documentation for cases like this before. No drama, just clean, time-stamped, court-admissible proof. "We go in separately," Kamran said, spreading out the plan on the table. "You don't approach until I give you the signal. We document first, confrontation second, emotion last, if at all." "Understood," I said. "Zaid." Bilal put a hand on my shoulder. "Once this starts, there's no pause. You ready?" I picked up my jacket. "I've been ready since the shower." There was one final piece. I found Aram's wife, Maham, through a common contact. I didn't call her yet. I sent a message, simple and honest. "My name is Zaid. I believe we are owed the same truth. I'd like to meet today. I'll explain everything. Please come to the Pearl Continental lobby at 7 p.m. You deserve to know." She replied in 11 minutes. "I'll be there," which told me, somewhere in her, she already suspected. I sat in Bilal's car outside the hotel at 6:45 p.m. Arham's car pulled into the parking lot at 6:52. Sana was in the passenger seat. She was laughing at something he said. She was wearing the perfume I'd gifted her on our last anniversary. I picked up my phone and sent Bilal one word: "Now." I walked into that lobby like I owned it. No rage, no shaking hands, suit jacket, phone in pocket, Kamran 2 steps behind me with everything we needed already documented. Bilal stood near the entrance, calm, present, a witness. I spotted them before they spotted me. Arham had his hand on the small of Sana's back, guiding her toward the elevator, confident, comfortable, like a man who had done this many times and never once feared consequence. "Sana." My voice cut across the lobby like a blade through silence. She froze, slowly, the way people move when their body already knows what their mind refuses to accept. She turned around. The color left her face in one instant. "Zaid." Her voice came out as almost nothing. What are you? You were supposed to be in Karachi. I know, I said. That's why I'm here. Arham stepped forward, recovering faster, squaring his shoulders, slipping into authority like a coat. The powerful boss, the man used to controlling rooms. Brother, I think there's a misunderstanding. Don't. One word. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. Don't call me brother. And there is no misunderstanding. I read everything. I have everything. So choose your next words like they're the last ones you say before a lawyer hears them. His mouth closed. Sana stepped toward me, hands reaching. Zaid, please, just listen to me. It's not... Please, let me explain... In a moment, I said quietly. Someone else deserves to hear this first. I looked toward the lobby entrance. Maham walked in. Aram's wife was a composed woman, mid-40s, dressed simply, eyes that had clearly been carrying a private weight for some time. She scanned the lobby, found Aram's face, and stopped walking. The silence between them said everything neither of them ever had. Maham! Arham's voice cracked for the first time. Don't, she said, soft, final, the same way you close a door you'll never open again. She turned to me. Thank you for telling me the truth. You deserved it, I said. We both did. Sana was crying now, not silently, but the desperate kind, the kind that wants to be heard and forgiven in the same breath. Zaid, I swear it meant nothing. I swear to God, please don't do this. Please. Nothing? I looked at her, really looked, maybe for the first time since that night. You wore my anniversary gift perfume, tonight, for him. Her hand flew to her neck. She had forgotten she was wearing it. The realization on her face, that small, horrible moment of self-exposure, was the only confirmation I had ever needed. I reached into my jacket and placed a folder on the lobby table beside me. Cameron stepped forward quietly. This is documentation of a 6-month relationship conducted using company resources and personal deception, I said. Copies have already been sent to 3 separate people, including HR at your company, Arham. Arham's face went gray. You wouldn't... I already did, I said, 2 hours ago. Sana grabbed my arm. Zaid, please. We can fix this. Please come home. We can talk. I'll do anything. I looked down at her hand on my arm. Then I gently, not roughly, not with anger, removed it. You should have talked to me before any of this, I said. Not after you got caught. I picked up my jacket, nodded once to Bilal, once to Maham, who was standing with the quiet devastation of a woman rearranging the furniture of her entire life inside her head, and I walked toward the exit. Behind me, Sana called my name once. I didn't stop. I didn't look back. She had planned tonight as her escape. It became mine. The days after the hotel were the quietest of my life. Not peaceful, just empty, the way a house feels after furniture has been removed. Same walls, same rooms, everything familiar, nothing the same. Sana came home that night. I wasn't there. I'd stayed at Bilal's. She called 17 times. I let them ring out and sat with a cup of tea that went cold while I stared at nothing and felt, surprisingly, not devastated. Just done. The legal process moved faster than she expected. Bilal's lawyer was methodical and calm. Paperwork filed within the week. Sana hired her own lawyer, sent me a message through him saying she wanted to reconcile, wanted counseling, wanted another chance. I replied through my lawyer with 3 words. Proceeding as planned. Arham's situation unraveled separately and completely. HR had received the documentation the same evening. By Monday morning, the company had launched an internal review. By Thursday, he had resigned, quietly, the way powerful men exit when the ground disappears beneath them. No announcement, just gone. Maham filed her own papers 8 days after the hotel. She sent me one message directly. No lawyer, no formality. I hope you find peace, Zaid. You gave me mine. I saved that message. On the hard days, it reminded me that the right thing and the hard thing had been the same thing. 3 weeks after the hotel, Sana asked to meet in person. I agreed. Neutral place. Bilal's presence. Off to the side. She looked like someone who hadn't slept properly since that lobby. The confidence was gone, not just the performance of it, but whatever lived underneath it too. She sat across from me and folded her hands on the table and for a long moment said nothing. Then, I don't expect forgiveness. I just need you to know I'm sorry. I looked at her. The woman I'd married. The person I'd built a life around. 5 years of real mornings and genuine laughter and 1,000 small moments that had all been true, even if the last chapter wasn't. I believe you're sorry, I said honestly, but sorry doesn't rebuild what you chose to destroy. Every day for months, Sana. Every day you came home and looked at me and chose to keep lying. That's not a mistake, that's a decision, made over and over again. Her eyes filled. I know. I loved you completely, I said. You should have come to me if something was wrong, if you were unhappy, if we needed to fix something. I would have tried everything. I paused. You didn't give me that chance. I know, she whispered again. It was the most honest conversation we'd ever had, and it was the last one. I stood up, buttoned my jacket, and looked at her one final time. I hope you figure out who you are, Sana. I mean that, genuinely. But I can't be there while you do. I walked out into the afternoon sunlight. No anger, no bitterness pulling at my heels. Just a man who had chosen his own dignity at every single step, when it would have been so easy to collapse, to scream, to beg. I had chosen silence when silence was the weapon. I had chosen patience when patience was the plan. And now I was choosing myself. 6 months later, Bilal and I sat at the same dhaba we'd been going to since university. Tea, samosas, the comfortable noise of an ordinary evening. You doing all right? He asked. I thought about it honestly. The way I'd been doing everything lately, honestly. Yeah, I said. Actually, yeah. He nodded, sipped his tea. You know what got me through it? I said after a moment. What? That first night and when I put her phone back exactly where it was. I looked at my cup. That decision. To not react, to think. Something shifted in me right then. Like I found a version of myself I didn't know existed. Bilal was quiet for a second. She lost a good man, he said simply. She did, I agreed. Not with arrogance. Just fact. The kind of fact you earn by walking through fire without burning anyone else down. Some betrayals don't break you. Some betrayals, if you're careful, if you're patient, if you refuse to become what hurt you, build you into someone unbreakable.